Good morning. Well, this week, another crazy week. As we were reading the 9th chapter of Mark, we came across this story. Now, Peter, James, and John had just been up on the mountain with Jesus and seen him transfigure, seen him meet Moses and Elijah. And when they came down to the other disciples, they saw a large crowd around them, and the teachers of the law arguing with them. And as soon as all the people saw Jesus, they were overwhelmed with wonder and ran to greet him. "What are you arguing with them about?" he asked. A man in the crowd answered, "Teacher, I brought you my son. He's possessed by a spirit that has robbed him of speech, and whenever it seizes him, it throws him to the ground. He foams at the mouth, gnashes his teeth, and becomes rigid. I asked your disciples to drive the spirit out, but they couldn't." "You unbelieving generation," Jesus replied, "how long shall I stay with you? How long shall I put up with you? Bring the boy to me." So they brought him to him, and when the spirit saw Jesus, it immediately threw the boy into a convulsion. He fell to the ground and rolled around, foaming at the mouth. Jesus asked the boy's father, "How long has he been like this?" "From childhood," he answered. "It has often thrown him into the fire or water and tried to kill him. But if you can do anything, take pity on us and help us." "If you can," said Jesus, "everything is possible for one who believes." Immediately the boy's father exclaimed, "I do believe. Help me overcome my unbelief." When Jesus saw that a crowd was running to the scene, he rebuked the impure spirit. "You deaf and mute spirit," he said, "I command you, come out of him and never enter him again." The spirit shrieked, convulsed him violently, and came out. The boy looked so much like a corpse that many said, "He's dead." But Jesus took him by the hand, lifted him to his feet, and he stood. After Jesus had gone indoors, his disciples asked him privately, "Why couldn't we drive it out?" And Jesus replied, "This kind can come out only by prayer." I don't know about you, but I often relate to the father in that story. He had a problem. His son was demon possessed. I'm sure, did not understand the severity of his illness. He just knew that from time to time his son was overcome by something, and it caused him to go into convulsions, and oftentimes seemed as if it would nearly kill him. And so he brought his son to Jesus. But when he got there, Jesus wasn't there. Only some of his disciples were still around, and so he took him to them. And although they tried, they couldn't help him at all. When Jesus returned and saw them arguing, he became a bit agitated. I oftentimes think that maybe Jesus gets agitated with some of my decisions. He didn't take it out on anybody, however. It simply says he asked the father, "How long has he been like this?" He said since childhood. And then the man did the thing that I'm the most familiar with. He asked Jesus if he could, would he help him? And Jesus' answer was very definitive. "If I can, everything is possible," he said, "if you believe." The man then quickly exclaimed, "I do believe. Please help me with my unbelief." I don't know about you, but I oftentimes find myself asking Jesus, help me with my unbelief. Help me to believe more. Give me stronger faith. Help me not to waver, but to trust you completely. And I believe that Jesus honors that prayer as he honored that Father's prayer. He healed the son. He told the disciples that the difference was that some can only be healed with prayer. I think sometimes we underestimate the power of our need to pray. Pray for the situation and pray for one another. You see, I believe that when God's people pray, believing that it makes a difference, then it does. And it's in those moments that the impossible not only becomes possible, but becomes inevitable. I hope that when you find yourself in struggles where the answer's not so clear, where the doubt and confusion, not of your God, but of yourself, is so strong you can hardly ask for help, that you'll be reminded of this Father, and you'll admit to God that you do believe, please help me in my unbelief. And in that prayer, I believe the impossible becomes the inevitable. Share with others this week, however you can, and experience the joy of living the Christian faith. Amen.